Problem is, these are toxic compounds. They contain hundreds of chemicals, including solvents. The kind of research that needs to be done has not been done. So it's very hard to find out what those chemicals' effects were. When I went down to the Gulf of Mexico the first time, my primary mission was to look into the question of dispersants. Today, we're going out into Barataria Bay where we have been sampling. So we're going to visit the sample sites, collect some samples, and generally look at the conditions there.
We're going to nose this boat into the marsh and be able to get samples here.
Until some of these studies are done, we won't have hard data on it. So we're still collecting samples. What we have here are 2 redfish from Barataria Bay. And we're going to dissect the fish, and I'm going to take certain tissues for contaminant analysis. The liver is the organ where the hydrocarbons are metabolized and concentrated. So that's the target organ for this kind of analysis. And the other thing that I want to do is get the gills. When we get through with the collection of samples, we'll start to analyze all those samples for the toxic metals that are components of the oil. I think the project will be one more solid bit of evidence that dispersing oil in an oil spill is risky and it does have impacts. And I think we're going to be seeing impacts for decades. The reason we're here today is that we're talking to people here who are sick. Most of these people live in really close proximity to the beach. And during the hot months, the oil was volatilizing, and there was a lot of vapor and solvent in the air. I was here in July, and I could smell that. Hi, Jessica. Hello. I just want to talk to you about how you're feeling, and as a resident here in Grand Isle, when you first noticed that you felt sick.
Well, right after the oil spill, pretty much most of the students in the school got sick. After like maybe a week, I had a horrible cough, and then I had high fevers. I had fevers up to 103.9 every night. And
once oil enters the body, it's toxic to every organ system. The reproductive system, the nervous system, the liver, kidneys, the skin.
I had severe bronchitis. I've been having breathing problems, and the doctor thought I had asthma, and I didn't.
I ended up with 2 really fierce ear infections. I've never had ear infections before.
I've been having a constant cough, sinus problems, bleeding out my nose sometimes.
Oil readily enters the body when it's dispersed. That's why it's more toxic in a dispersed form.
So I went to the doctor, and she diagnosed me with pneumonitis, which, is chemical burning of the lining of my lungs.
I worked on the oil spill, and we worked out there for 2 months when it first started all coming in. And I just got my test results yesterday. The doctor called me up, and I got all kind of poisons in my blood, them toxins and all.
In the same way that the dispersant breaks down the lipid membrane of the oil, the dispersant also can break down the lipid wall of cells and organs.
I know another girl in my class whose ears bleed. You'll just be in class and you'll see a trickle of blood.
As a scientist, I'm, of course, skeptical of some of these stories of these high levels of chemicals, but I think certain people now have gone and gotten tested, and there are data that we can look at. It's not so anecdotal.
It's constant burn in my chest, nervousness, and I got a growth that's coming out on my eye. That started on the oil spill.
You just got your test results.
Yes,
Tell me what you remember of that.
Well, I got an enzyme in my blood, ethanol poisoning.
Essentially, you have chemical poisoning.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Right, chemical poisoning.
And you have very high levels of the chemical. This is heartbreaking. I am a scientist. I came here as a scientist. I'm working on a project here. And it's just hard to hear the incredible sadness and suffering. And there are people that are not even on the edge, they're over the edge. There are animals out there that are over the edge. There's baby dolphins that are dying, that are over the edge, you know. There's only so much that we can pollute and still maintain the planet, and we are pushing ourselves to the edge, I think.